so I'm going to be talking about my Loft 89 experience and kind of how I got to meet her and then what it was like once I got into Loft 89. So I went to both nights of the 1989 tour in Chicago, and the first night Taylor didn't have Loft because she actually woke up with a sore throat, so she was actually sick, and so she didn't want to, she was kind of like on vocal rest that first day before the show, so she didn't have it the first night. So then the second night, she ended up having it. And going into the second night, I didn't think she was going to, just because typically I feel like sometimes she doesn't, if she's there like at a specific city for 2 nights, she normally has Loft 89 the first night and not the second night. So I wasn't really thinking too much into her actually having Loft the second night. Um, but then the second night came around, and me and Natalie, I went with her the second night, and we were waiting in the Xfinity line to get like our picture taken at like the booth that they had there. And then all of a sudden we heard a bunch of fans screaming, and we kind of like looked around, and then like someone was like, "Oh, it's like Taylor's mom." And so me and Natalie kind of like looked at each other, and then we kind of like bolted to where like all these fans were and stuff like that. And like I've never met like Taylor's parents or anything like that, so I thought it was really cool to like have her be like right there because it was so like unexpected. And then since everyone was screaming, it kind of created like a group of people. So there's about like 20 to 30 people there. And then Andrea was with her security guard, and so then they kind of like turned away to kind of walk away. And then a lot of people kind of like left, but me and Natalie, we stayed, and then a few other girls kind of stayed as well. And then I was like really scared to like talk to her, so Natalie kind of like kept pushing me up to go and like talk to Andrea. And I didn't really know like what exactly I was gonna say to her, so this kind of just like I just kind of blurted this out. But I like met up with her and I was talking to her, and then like we got a picture together, and then I was like, hey, like I want to tell you this, and then she leaned in like really closely to me to make sure that she would hear what I was about to say. And then I was like, I just wanted to let you know that I got invited to the Nashville 1989 secret session, and I wasn't able to go. And then she had this really like concerned like look on her face. And so then she like was like, oh, like where are you sitting at the show tonight? And then I was like, I'm on the floor, like section L. And then she was like, all right, like I'm gonna try to find you on the floor. If not, you try to find me and we can talk more. And so at that point, I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, like this is insane. Like what's gonna happen, you know? And so that was like really crazy. And then we also had found out that some girls received Loft 89 already before the show had started, because when Taylor was driving into the stadium, she saw these fans dressed up, and like she really liked that, so that's why her mom was out to try to find these girls to give them Loft. And so we already knew like there was going to be a Loft, so there was somewhat of a chance of getting to meet her that night. But then again, we didn't want to like think too much into it, because like especially like we didn't want to like it's so heartbreaking if like you think that you're going to like meet her and then like you don't. So like we just didn't want to like think like that. And so then the show had started, and the opening acts were going on and stuff like that. And then right after Haim, and so before Taylor, there's just like that like break, and they play music and stuff like that. Her dad walked by, and like we met her dad and stuff like that, so that was really fun. And then her mom started walking by, and I was like, Natalie, like should I like ask her if she remembers us, like, you know, like she's about to come by. And she was like stopping with like the other fans who were like to the right of us. And so like me and Nelly were kind of like talking, and she was like, yeah, like go for it. And so when Andrea came by, we got another picture together. And then I was like, hey, like do you remember me? And she was like, remind me again. And then I was like, I just met you earlier today, and I told you about this Nashville secret session. And then she like finished my sentence because we both said the word session at the same time. And then she was like, yeah, great, now I know exactly where you guys are sitting. And she kind of like gave us this like smirk smile type of thing. And then she continued to walk away. And so then we were really like thankful that we finally found her on the floor, because the floor is like huge. And like once the show starts, they take down like the big poles that have like which section you're in. So like she wouldn't know like where section L was. And we were like first row in section L, so it's really easy to like get to us. So we were really thankful that like she finally like found us, because we were like trying to like look for her and we couldn't find her or anything like that. So then the show had started, and we pretty much just, went to the, just like went out crazy and was always dancing and singing along and stuff like that. Um, and it got around like the bad blood, and we were never ever getting back together during that set. And we were thinking to each other, we were like, well, I don't really know if we're gonna get Loft. Like, there's only a few more songs left during the show, and so at that point we were basically just thinking like, okay, like now there's really no chance. Like, we kind of had this chance since we had talked to Andrea, but now it's kind of like it's almost too late, and so we were kind of like, oh no, and then after that, the like Taylor was off stage doing her like wardrobe change, and so everyone in our section pretty much just sat down for that because there's nothing on stage except like the video of Taylor's friends. And then during Wildest Dreams and The Enchanted, during that like mashup, no one again like knew the words, so a lot of people were standing down in that section, and that's my favorite song, and I love that mashup, so I was like screaming the words as loud as I possibly could, and same with Natalie. And then all of a sudden, like 20 feet to our left, we start seeing Andrea walk to us, and like at that moment we just started like screaming as loud as we possibly could, and I just like started crying, and I had like goosebumps, like I was jumping up and down, like because I knew exactly like she was coming straight to us. And so then she like came up to us, and like I don't even remember what she like said to us. I was just like crying and crying because I was so happy. And then she started putting the Loft 89 wristband around my arm, and then she gave us the little like orange slip of paper that said like where to meet after the show and stuff like that. And then I just remember I like hugged her, and like the biggest hug, and was like, thank you so much, like I like owe everything to you, like thank you. And then she was just like smiling, like really happy. And so then me and Natalie, we like hugged each other, like we kept hugging each other, and we were just crying and screaming and like going crazy. And this was during like Wildest Dreams and Enchanted, so then there was only like one or two songs left on the show, so it was so crazy. We were just jumping up and down. So that's kind of like how we got Loft. Alright, so then after the concert was over, we started walking towards the section that we had to meet at, and there was, I forget who was there was a few people in charge. I think it was a girl named Allie, I'm not 100% positive, I don't remember. And so she was there, and she was kind of like explaining the rules of Loft, and then she also was coming around to everyone, and she had like her laptop, and she was getting down like our full like first and last name, and then I think how old we were or like where we lived, I forget, it's one of those. And then she started going over all of the rules of Loft and stuff like that. So she was saying how it'll be 30 minutes until Taylor actually comes in, because she's just like preparing herself to meet fans after the show, and we can take like as many pictures as we wanted but no videos. There was like a photo booth that we could go into, and there was like food and drinks and stuff like that. And then once Taylor comes in, everyone has to like put their phones away. There's no pictures allowed once Taylor walks into the room. And then you get one picture with her. They said like they were really strict. Like they're like, you get one picture in your group, and then you get one thing to be autographed. And so then we started walking backstage, and to get backstage they said that you couldn't have your phones out or anything like that. And I just remember like me and Natalie, like my heart was beating so fast, like we were shaking, like it was crazy. And then we got into Loft, and it was like the smallest room ever. Like it was really tiny, definitely not what I expected, but it was just like the coolest like room ever. There was like a couch, a TV, like high tables and high chairs. Like it was just a really cool like atmosphere. And then I actually ended up counting everyone, so there was 28 people total, but there was about like 7 or 8 groups. So like 7 or 8 groups of people got picked, and then with like their friends and their like parents and stuff, it equaled 28 people. So I was just like, this is crazy. Like out of like 50,000 people, like 28 of us got picked, and like I was one of them. Like to me, that's just like, that's insane. And so me and Natalie, we just started taking pictures and everything in Loft, and then we actually went into the photo booth and we took pictures there. But it was so crazy. Like I like wasn't thinking like, okay, I'm about to meet Taylor. Like I don't know, it was just a crazy experience. And then the lady was like, all right, everyone put your phone away. So we knew like exactly like, all right, Taylor is about to come in. And then Taylor walks in, and I just remember everyone just like was screaming, like I almost started crying. Like at this point, like my crying had kind of like gone away, like I wasn't crying anymore. And so me and Natalie, we were like, when you walked in, we were on like the left side of the room, and Taylor went to the right side first. So she started making her way around, and then her mom came in, and then her dad came in, but her dad like came in for like 10 seconds and then left. So I don't know what that was about. So then her mom came in, and then she came to us because she was gonna make her way around to all of the fans, like the opposite way of Taylor. So you always had like someone to talk to, I guess. And so Andrea started talking to us, and like she pointed to me and Natalie and was like, "Yeah, you guys were the last ones that we picked to come into Loft." So I thought that was kind of cool. And then she just kind of started talk. She talked to me, and then the two girls that were dressed up as emojis, and then two girls dressed up as Pop Tarts. So it was like the six of us all talking to Andrea together. Um, and then Andrea was just kind of talking to us about how like, yeah, like Taylor was sick the previous nights and she woke up with a sore throat, and then now she's having Loft again, and she kind of just like explained that whole story like more in detail. And then Andrea asked us about like the show, like if we liked it and stuff like that. So we were just like, yeah, like of course we liked it. And then Andrea asked if we wanted pictures, so we all got pictures with Andrea, and then she started walking away to move on to like the other people in the room. And like I just remember like I was like freaking out, like I would not take my eyes off of like Taylor when she was like in the room. Like I kept like looking at her to see like everything that she was doing. So I was just like, this is crazy. Like I'm in a room with Taylor Swift, like about to meet her. Like this is crazy. And then Andrea went around to all of the groups faster than Taylor did, and so then Andrea ended up talking to me and Natalie again. So now it was just the three of us, and so we were talking again. And like we were just telling her like how me and Natalie met and how we went to the show the first night, and then I was talking to Andrea about my friend Lizzie and how like she's a good fan and stuff like that. And so then I gave like Andrea like Lizzie's information and how she was going to Nashville, so hopefully we could try to like get them to meet, since Lizzie wasn't able to come in Loft with us. And so then we were just talking about like a bunch of stuff, and then finally it was time for Taylor to see me and Natalie. And so like Taylor was like, "Hey buddy," like talking to me, and then we like hugged, and then we just like started talking. Like I don't even remember what we talked about, but I know I like her mom was like right there while we were talking to Taylor, and so her mom was like, "Yeah, like she got invited to the secret session." And then I was like, "Yeah, Taylor, like I got invited to the Nashville secret session, and then I wasn't able to go." And like ever since that day, like randomly I would like break down and cry thinking that like I would never meet you. And then Taylor was like, "Oh, like thank you for being so patient, you're amazing." And then she like grabbed, like while she was doing that, she like grabbed my arm and like held onto my hand while she like said that to me. And so I like died. I was like, "Oh my god, like this is crazy." And then we told Taylor about like me and Natalie, how we're in a group and there's 8 of us, and like how we call ourselves the Fearless Fab and like stuff like that. So we were talking about that. And then we talked to Taylor about how we both went to the show the first night, and how like we loved like the surprise song of like 15 and Mean, and we kind of like explained like stories on how like that, like how we liked those songs. And then I told her how when she first put out 1989, I went trick-or-treating and like promoted the album, and then she ended up finding the picture and then tweeting it herself like Taylor did. So like I told her that, and I was like, that was like the coolest day of my life. And so it was really like a special moment, so I was really happy about that. And then Taylor asked us if we had anything that we wanted her to sign, and so both nights I actually brought my set of Polaroids, like hoping that maybe if I met her she could sign a Polaroid. And so I picked out, there's like I think 89 Polaroids, and then I ended up picking the 13th Polaroid, and then because it was saying like nice to meet you, where you been. And so I thought that was like a good like saying, since I'm like I'm meeting Taylor and it's the 13th Polaroid. And then there was a bunch of like white space for her to write whatever. So then she autographed it, and then she also autographed Natalie's poster, which was really funny because Natalie wanted her to write out Fearless, and then like Taylor spelled Fearless wrong, so she like had to like, she was like, "Oh no, like it's clouds and stars," so she drew like clouds and stars around it. So that was pretty funny. And then me and Natalie, we both wanted like an individual like hugging picture. Like that is always like that post has always been like a picture that I've always wanted with Taylor. But they had said like you only get like one picture per group, so I was like really scared about that. But I ended up asking Taylor that. I was like, hey Taylor, like could I have like an individual hugging picture? And she was like, yeah, of course. So I was like, oh my gosh, bless, like thank you. And so then I gave the lady my phone to take the picture on, and so Taylor like squatted down and then we hugged, and the lady like for some reason like couldn't take the picture. Like I don't know why, but like she was like, how do I do this? And I was like, what? And so me and Taylor were like hugging for like 10 seconds while she was trying to like figure it out, and then we like broke out of the hug, and then the lady finally got the camera right, so I don't really know what her deal was. And then we hugged again, like got in the same position, and then the lady took the picture, and then Natalie got her individual hugging picture, and like I thought that like, that was gonna be it. Like I didn't think that like Taylor was gonna want another picture or anything, and then she was like, all right, group picture. So I was like, oh, okay, like of course, you know. And so then we got a group picture, and so then that was cool. And then she was like, thank you guys, and then she like left the room and everything like that. So and then I just remember like after meeting her, I was so like starstruck, like I could not stop smiling. Like that whole Loft 89 room and everything, like never once did I like stop smiling. Like it was just like the happiest day ever. And then like looking back on it, I'm just like, wow, like that was like the happiest day of my life. Like it was such like a crazy experience, and I'm so glad that it happened. But yeah, so that was that. After Taylor left, the lady was just like, all right, everyone, just grab your things and we're gonna walk you back outside the stadium and stuff like that. And but we had to like stay in Loft for a few minutes so like Taylor could like leave without like us like bombarding her and like trying to like talk to her more after she left. And so then we waited like 5 minutes to gather our things and everything like that, and then like they walked us out. But yeah, it was such a crazy experience, and I'm so thankful that it happened. And it was definitely like the best day of my life. But yeah, so that was my Loft 89 experience.
So now we know that not letting things pass you by means understanding what makes you happy and allowing yourself to be happy within those moments. And understanding those moments are rare. And then playing those moments back like a tape in your head when you're sad. And these nights at Staples, these three so far, are going to be the kind of memories that I play back in my head when I am sad.
This night is sparkling, don't you let it go. I'll wonder, blushing all the way home. I'll spend forever wondering if you know. He said, let's get out of this town, drive out of the city, away from the crowds. I thought heaven can't help me now, nothing lasts forever. This is gonna take me down, he's so tall, handsome as hell. He's so bad, but he does it so well. I can see the end as it begins. My one condition is, say